Where does the four-wheel underground suspension shine more? Creeping, crawling on the Rubicon, or going crazy fast out on Johnson Valley desert floor?
Yeah, good question. It honestly does great in both scenarios. Whether I'm going through the Rubicon or doing 50 to 60 miles an hour through washes at Johnson Valley, it's really impressive what the suspension does. I think that goes a lot to show how well it's engineered, how well the roll center is controlled, and how well the geometry all goes together. No matter what I'm doing, I feel stable. I feel predictable. It's fantastic.
That makes a lot of sense because they are designed to be great on and off road.
That's true. I do drive the rig to and from the trails as well. And I noticed on tight, windy mountain roads, I don't feel like I'm throwing the body off the chassis anymore. I just have one question.
What's that?
When are we putting some four-wheel underground parts underneath Samantha?
Soon, very soon. And I'm excited to do so. And if you are looking to move your vehicle from leaf springs to a linked suspension kit, make sure to check out fourwheelunderground.com.
Hey, Jimmy, do you use any mapping software when you go off-roading?
Yeah, I use Onyx Off-Road.
Oh, nice. I do too. Have you been seeing the updates they've been sending out recently?
Yeah, the maps are changing. They're getting rid of that green spaghetti and they're changing it up to something a little bit more colorful.
Yeah, as much as I love the neon spaghetti that was on there, they're actually making a really cool update that's going to make all the trails colored based on difficulty ratings, which makes it easier to explore the trails around you.
Yeah, I know how much you love the neon green, but I think this is a good feature for them because now not only can you find a trail near you, but you can actually get an idea of its difficulty.
It is. It's a really nice change. That's one of the reasons why I like Onyx Off-Road and I've been enjoying using them is they're always looking for ways to make the app better. They're always rolling out updates, which all of them just makes things easier for when you're going out and exploring the trails around you.
So if you want to go out and explore and find trails near you, make sure to download the app Onyx Off-Road. Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, maybe poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how awesome it is to off-road your 1/10 scale Toyota, then this is the podcast for you. How's it going, everybody? I'm Jimmy Jett. I'm sitting in the studio at the moment all by myself, but I do have a good friend, good amigo, somebody that I've spent a little bit of time with joining me for this episode here in a little bit, and we'll get him on the mic just here shortly. Before I have to do some housekeeping to get, keep everybody happy. And then we'll jump over to that interview for today. Let's see here. First things first, this weekend, Sully Bun benefit out at Prairie City. Come on, come all. It's going to be a great time. You can bring raffle prizes if you have them. We're still doing shout outs for raffle prizes, but you can bring those to the event and put them on the raffle table. That is totally acceptable. If you have items that you want to send to us, hit me up. I can get you the address. We can figure that all out. But it's on April 13th. I believe it's from 10 to 2 out at Prairie City. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be a few different car shows kind of happening. I believe the Metal Cloak CTI trailer is going to be out there. There's going to be all kinds of wheeling. There's going to be a ton of rigs, so you guys can get ideas on how to build your off-road rig. So it's just going to be a great time. I do think Sue's going to be able to make it. She is in high spirits. She is in excellent shape. She's doing well physically. We'll see what her doctor suggests or says if she's allowed to really get around that many people. But I know she wants to go. Besides that one, which is the major one, let's get into some of the more common ones. April is gift box month. Gift boxes did not get done over the weekend. I was a little too ambitious and I went out snow wheeling this weekend in Tyler's tracked 4Runner. So that took a day. I'll talk about that on Thursday, though, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But that took away a day, so I didn't get to gift boxes. I will get those done here in the next few days. I do think Tuesday will be a good day for me to try to get those done, possibly Wednesday when the mini assistant is free, because I know she enjoys helping make those gift boxes primarily because she gets some candy, because usually I throw the candy in there. I'm not sure how that's going to work this time. I'll figure it out. But Easter was so early, so I can't get those deals on the Easter candy anymore. Gift boxes are going out, which also means gift box tier is open over on iRate 4x4. So if you are looking to move up tiers or change tiers, now is a fantastic time. Just make sure that when you are changing tiers, you go over to iRate 4x4 to sign up, but you have to go over to PayPal to end your subscriptions of the ones you're leaving. So if you're changing tiers or moving any which way, you have to cancel your old subscription through PayPal, and you have to do that on your end. We can't take care of that for you. Sorry. So move up if you want to get into that gift box tier. Jim's month, I already have a good idea for what one of the items that might be in there, or possibly the theme of this upcoming box. We'll see how it goes. Besides that, we're always accepting reviews. Once we hit 750 reviews, we are giving away a set of Yokohama tires. So go leave that review. Go get yourself entered. If you can figure out ways to leave multiple reviews, go ahead and do it. Once we reach 750 reviews, we're going to choose a random review on Apple iTunes. And if your review is chosen, you get a set of Yokohama tires. We will be giving away swag packs along the way. I'm sure we're at 650. I haven't even checked. So we'll do the 651 and then we'll do 700. And then for that 750 mark is the set of tires. So super stoked about that. We will be starting snail mails as soon as Tyler gets back. So go leave a voicemail if you want. Tell him congratulations. You know, we will get to all these voicemails that are in the bank. So go over there, leave a phone number, or the phone number is 916-345-4744. That is 916-345-4744. Call us. Nobody answers. Just leave. It goes straight to voicemail. Leave that voicemail and we'll play it on a future snail mail episode. And if you're driving, don't stop. Don't write that down. The number is in the show notes so you can grab it at any time. We are still accepting license plates. We want to get this wall done before episode 500. I really do want to try to shoot at least a straight on video of us talking for episode 500. We'll see how far we get with that. But I believe that is I'm going to try and make that happen. So we'll see how that works. And we want license plates in the background. We want to put them up there. We want to show them off. We want all different states, multiple countries. We could be, do whatever. So I think it'd be really cool to get a bunch of different license plates. And if you have any laying around, the website or the address to ship them to is also down in the show notes. It's to the Morphlate warehouse. So ship them there and then we'll throw them up on the wall. If you want to sign them, that'd be rad as well. Along with episode 500, we're coming up very soon on our 5-year celebration. I am not sure what we're going to be doing. It also it doesn't really interfere with the Marlin Celebration of Life, which is on June 1st. But I don't know if we're going to try to combine some of those things. I'm not sure what the game plan is, but it is happening in May. It's happening fairly early in May is our 5-year. Also, our 500th episode is right around that same mark as well. So I'm not sure what we're going to do. Too many things happening right now with all the events coming up and Tyler gone and having a baby. So we're not too worried about that at the moment, but we will get to it. All right, last thing, and maybe the most important thing. Today's interview is with Vanquish Products. Vanquish Products is a phenomenal company for RC rock crawlers, RC vehicles, and they make all kinds of crazy upgrades for your RC truck. I don't know if they're just truck. Let's just say off-road vehicle or RC off-road vehicles. They are giving out a discount code, but it's on a limited time frame. So if you want to get the discount code, you need to do it ASAP. The discount code, I'll put it also down in the show notes, is Snail Trail 4x4. You get 15% off orders $150 or more, but it only goes for 1 week. So at the midnight on the 15th, this discount code ends. So if you're interested in getting RC parts for your crawler, upgrades, portals, metal axle shafts, metal drive shafts, new wheels, whatever it is, they have it. Check out their website. Links and everything are down below. Snail Trail 4x4 discount code, 15% off when you spend $150 or more. And it only goes for 1 week. So get on that now. All right. Well, let's jump over to today's podcast. I've already kind of talked about them a little bit. They do so many cool things. They gave me a tour of their facility and I was blown away. I had no idea that this company was doing so many things. I thought it was just like, oh, they make these little kick cars. No, not at all. They do all kinds of machining. They do it all. They get kits from overseas somewhere. I'm not sure where it is. It wasn't China, but it was somewhere else. I think we say it in the podcast. They get kits for overseas and then they build all the upgrades for almost all the vehicles out there, all the different companies out there. And so if you have an RC vehicle, like from one of the other companies, they have an upgrade part for you. So check it out. That's an awesome company. It's located here in Sacramento. So it was really easy for me to sit down with them and have a phenomenal time hanging out with a few of the owners. And we went to lunch and we got the tour, or I got the tour. So it was a fantastic time. Anyways, let me get off this soapbox. Go check them out. Go check out their parts and let's roll this interview.
The 4-Wheel Underground website just got an upgrade. Come on by and check out the new functionality, new photos, and new pricing. Finally works on mobile too. Visit 4wheelunderground.com and find your new suspension today.
Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and all you fans of scaled crawlers. How's it going out there in podcast land? Today, I have a good friend of the podcast, a longtime listener, probably. I've got a gentleman that's been over to my house a few times to deliver a Christmas present and to get some work done on his sweet-looking Tundra that's out in the parking lot. I've got Brandon. How are you doing today?
Good, Jimmy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Super excited to have you here today. We are sitting in the studio out at Vanquish Products, and I've got all kinds of RC cars around me. And we're going to have a fun time talking about scaled crawlers, parts, manufacturing, and pretty much everything in between upwards to like full-size vehicles, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I started listening back in this High Sierra days.
Really?
So, college mate of mine was like, hey, you just moved back to NorCal. You need to listen to this podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. And then since then, that podcast left and I was hooked on you guys.
Toyotas. That's why, right? Yeah, of course. None of that Jeep stuff.
I'm surrounded by Jeep guys here at Vanquish Products.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Gladiator. There's another JK. Yeah. It was good to have another Toyota pull up in the parking lot.
There you go.
Yep.
We gotta offset them.
Yep.
Can't let them have the entire world.
And then, yeah, as soon as I had Tacomas in the past.
Okay.
As soon as the twins were on the way and 3 car seats would not fit in the back.
Sure. Makes sense.
The Tundra came. And then that's when you and I finally met and got the Ironman setup going.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. That was fun. Absolutely. So you alluded to some things already out of the box. I wanted to jump even farther back. You said that you moved back to NorCal. Did you grow up in Northern California?
Yeah. So I grew up in the Central Valley, a couple hours from here. And then my first job was actually with an RC manufacturer, not Vanquish Products. So I was going to school for mechanical engineering. I was doing the RC thing for fun. And then a company out of SoCal sponsored me.
Okay.
And then as a team driver, they called it.
Yeah. So like you were doing competitions?
I was doing competition rock crawling, 10 scale.
Okay.
And actually a couple of the events were super cool. They tied with We Rock, full size stuff.
Oh, fun.
And right next door was, what we were doing with the 10 scale stuff.
Oh, you weren't taking your 10 scale up the same course.
Oh, I wish.
Actually, badass.
We're jumping all over, but I was fortunate enough. Once I got to meet the guys from my previous company at Axial Racing, I met LaserNut.
Okay.
And got to drive his moon buggy around.
No way.
And that was like
Gold Digger, not Gold Digger. That's
no,
the bomber.
Before that, it was
Pretty Penny. What was the name of that one?
That was his second rig,
Okay.
I believe. It was so before that he had, I believe it was a Jesse Haynes rig as well, but it didn't have the Ecotech. It had like a VW engine in it.
Oh, interesting.
Very similar. Cutting brakes, dig, front and rear,
Fun.
crazy steering.
Yeah.
And that was wild. Yeah.
It sounds like a blast.
Yeah. So I lived in SoCal for 8 years working for Axial Racing. Got to meet Randy Slauson. I did a scale version of his bomber.
Okay. Yeah.
We went to KOH every year, just got to hang around in that scene and then replicate it in 10 scale.
Right. You got one of those sitting right over here.
Yeah. There's a bomber over there on the shelf with Vanquish Products aftermarket parts, which is where this company started.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a bit. Let's not jump there yet.
Sorry. I'm all over the place.
It's okay. Let's stick with some of the history, your history, getting to know you, because that's kind of an understanding. People like to get to know the person behind the brands. And so you grew up in Central California. You went down to Southern California. Where'd you go to college?
UOP, actually, in Stockton.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was still close to home.
Yeah.
And went there.
Nice. It's a good college, actually.
Yeah. Awesome campus.
And so then you got a job down in Southern California.
Yep.
Working down there doing, was it still mechanical engineering?
So
is it considered that?
It was product design.
Product design.
Yeah. So I've never actually had an engineering position.
Sure.
But I've always been kind of a creative person.
Okay.
I definitely didn't see myself working in a lab, doing testing or anything like that. More creative.
Okay.
So that degree got me in that door.
Mm-hmm.
And then, just been product design ever since.
Right. Okay. And so you started like straight out of college. You went to work for the other company?
Yeah. I went to work for Axial Racing. So graduated in May 2009, got married in June, moved in June.
Dang.
Yep.
Wow.
And then right to work.
Right. Yeah. And so did you get hired on with them because you were, utilizing their vehicles and were part of the race team, and you were talking to them, a while and saying, like, hey, I'm graduating with this degree. I would love to, help you guys out with designs. Is that kind of how that avenue went?
Kind of. So it was, before Facebook was real big and it was all still on forums. So it was basically the pirate 4x4 version of RC.
Sure. What was the name of that?
RCcrawler.com.
Okay.
And so
that makes sense.
That's where that's where all the events were kind of organized. People would do custom builds, just like Pirate.
Yeah.
So everything was scaled down. My former boss actually saw me using one of my engineering classes to do some 3D printing.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to do some CAD work, 3D print, and I used that to 3D print a scale V8 for a RC crawler.
Oh, nice.
And so when he saw that build coming together and my abilities being in school, they reached out. I was also competing in the 10 scale crawling. And then, we used that as a way to connect initially, and then went down there for an interview and Yep.
So what was your main job down there? Was it just still product design? Was it all over the board, or were you like just axles or just frame? Are they compartmentalized like that, or what was it like?
The R&D department there was pretty small in the beginning when I started. So first project he handed me was a existing transmission, and he wanted a dig unit that would bolt onto the back.
Okay.
So guys could disconnect, lock the rear. And then from there, I was able to tackle that. And because of my background in competing, my first big project was a competition-based rock crawler. It was what was called an MOA. So the motors were on the axles. So motor on the front, motor on the rear. Yeah. So you have these little electric cans, and they bolt right to a gearbox on the axle. Front was steering, rear was non.
Okay.
And then you're able to control the power output to the front and rear.
Oh, interesting. So you could
independently.
Yeah. And you could dial that back like on the controller.
Yeah. So electronically, you'd have a controller for each motor. You could go like 90% to the rear. So you kind of have a little bit of an overdrive. So as you're climbing, it keeps you from flopping over backwards, basically.
Sure.
So
you can control digs that way
you
as
can control
well.
Front and rear dig. Yeah. You shut each axle off.
That's really cool.
And so that was my first big project.
Is that this one over here?
Yeah. So that one is a Vanquish Products version of it. Basically, almost every part on that truck is a machined version of the plastic that came on that original car.
Got it.
So that's where Vanquish Products basically started, was aftermarket parts for other companies.
Okay.
Wheels, axle housings, axle components, eventually some chassis, links, drivetrain parts, stuff like that.
Right.
So I got to know these guys here at Vanquish Products early on with the design of that car.
Got it.
And
because they were asking you what axle you're using in that car, or
so the
layout?
owners, the owners were passionate about RC crawling as well.
The owners
of Vanquish Products.
Vanquish. Got it.
So when they saw that axial car released, they immediately jumped on it with aftermarket support.
Right.
Being my first product in the RC car world, it had some flaws. We had some bearing issues that were undersized, stuff like that. So the guys here at Vanquish Products immediately jumped on it and fixed it with some aftermarket support.
Right.
Probably saved the car.
Oh,
because immediately there was a fix available.
Yes.
You know, having the parts machined here in the US and ready to ship within days, customers received that first product and were breaking it.
Right.
So, it's been a good relationship ever since.
Sure. So Vanquish Products machined like more or less aluminum aftermarket support for the plastic versions that you were getting at Axial.
Yes, correct. And for the most part, RC cars are made overseas. Okay. So everything's plastic, some grade of steel that's not ideal. And Vanquish Products is made here in Sacramento, made in the US for our wheels, anything machined aluminum. So when I left Axial, I came here in 2017 and everything was still made here in the US.
Right. Okay.
They basically brought me on as a way of, okay, let's make our own car. Yes, we'll make it overseas. You know, that's what you're good at. Mm-hmm. And then you have all of these machines at your disposal to support those products with aftermarket.
Interesting. Okay. So your progression went from Axle, which is a large name in the RC industry. Right. I'm not a big RC person and I know that name.
Right. You see them all over at KOH,
absolutely.
Score, Baja.
Right. And they're sponsoring cars, you know, and so it's a big name in the RC industry. And so they brought you over from Axial to Vanquish to start sort of your own Vanquish's own boxed version of a car.
Yeah. It's almost a whole nother division of the company.
Right.
But it was also a natural progression for an aftermarket company that was already making axle housings. Yeah. Portal axles, transmissions.
Yeah. It seems
they were missing the overseas injection molded component.
Sure. It's sort of backwards in a way though, right? Because it's like
100%. Yeah.
You know, they were making aftermarket parts for the companies that were making full kits, and now they're making their own full kit, where I would assume a lot of people start with a full kit and then start making aftermarket parts. But
right.
I mean, you could go about it either way.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
But okay, that's cool. So you came over from Axial in 2017.
Yeah.
They brought you on to start making a kit version of a car.
Right.
Right. And so how did that start? How does that work? Like, let's take those steps.
Oh, as far as the initial steps to making an RC car?
Yeah. I'm kind of interested in that.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, you already had contacts overseas.
Right.
And so now you're contacting those companies probably.
Yeah.
And being like, I want to make a car, but there's steps before that. Like, how do you start designing a car?
Not even that. It's the Jeep versus Toyota argument.
Oh, okay.
Because we all have different opinions in the office. You know, I would build a leaf spring old school platform if it were me, but the company's based on performance. So link suspension, high-end axles, everything had to be, you know, let's see. So we started with, we knew we wanted 10 scale.
Okay.
We already saw, based on selling aftermarket products for other vehicles, what was popular.
Sure.
And we used that knowledge to develop our own platform. So 4-linked front or 4-linked rear, 3-linked front. We decided to go with a steering box on the chassis.
Okay.
I think back to listening to you guys explaining these different systems in previous podcasts. The same thing scales down to 10 scale.
Yeah.
So we could do a 4-link with the steering box mounted to the axle.
Sure.
To be more scale, we decided the steering box would be on the chassis.
Okay.
We would run a 3-link with that panhard upper locating.
Yeah.
And then you had to keep those links parallel.
Right.
And so we went through that whole development process of our suspension system for the front and rear.
Interesting. Okay. And in a way, I mean, the suspension system for an RC car, it works similar to a full-size rig.
100%. Yeah. You'll see bump steer in a 10 scale, just like you would if it's not set up properly.
Yeah.
One of the biggest complaints we get is guys put longer shocks to lift their RC car.
Sure.
And all of a sudden their front axle is no longer centered under the body.
Okay.
Because they're running a panhard.
Right.
And so it just swings the axle way over. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they don't understand what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you're like, well, now let me explain this to you. Because of this bar, when you if you lift your rig up, you'd watch the axle swing away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or they'll pick the truck up off on the bench and it droops out and they'll send us a photo of why it's not centered. We're like, no, put it back down on the ground, let it set at right height. That's your center.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure 4-Wheel Underground deals with, figuring
probably.
Yeah.
They probably have a picture of somebody up on a lift and it's the axle's all off.
Exactly. Wondering what's wrong. Yeah.
What the heck is wrong with this thing?
Although fortunately for me, something that he has to deal with and I don't is ride comfort.
Sure.
Nobody knows what the thing actually rides like. It's 10 scale. Looks good going down the trail. You're walking behind it.
Yeah. And to some extent, you don't have to deal with freeway speeds.
Or human safety.
Yeah, sure.
If a suspension link just falls off because, we don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah. What about the little G.I. Joe guys, though?
So backing up to Axial,
sure.
I think when I was in college, I always knew I wanted to do something automotive.
Okay.
Always passionate about cars, whether it was just wrenching on stuff, the original Gran Turismo coming out when I was like 13 and spending thousands of hours.
Oh my gosh.
Just, I knew
every upgrade you could do on every car.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I always knew that's what I wanted to do. And then finding out I could design complete cars from start to finish, but doing it in 10 scale, I was all about it.
Cool.
Because I heard stories of friends that worked in like tool and die for the automotive industry. And they're like, the last 2 years I made this door handle.
Right.
And I
have a friend that worked at Tesla. He's like, I made the floor pan for the Y.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fantastic. Like, that sounds so lovely.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody that puts their feet down really appreciates you.
Yeah. Yeah. So being able to design with our team, every component of a vehicle, is pretty incredible.
Well, I've been sitting here too, talking about team, and it seems like I've almost met the entire crew.
Yeah. So you got a tour from one of the owners and, head machinist here. He founded the company, but he still programs machines to this day.
Yeah.
And then Josh, the other one that did most of the talking, he's really good with events and stuff like that. Sure. But he also does so much on the back end for our company. He just launched a new website yesterday and he's troubleshooting all that stuff.
Oh, dang.
So yeah, we're a small team. We all wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
I even get into like product photography, all our studio shots for the website to writing copy for stuff.
Right.
I run our Instagram, which poorly as an engineer, but
some things aren't made to cross over.
Right. I do my best.
Yeah. There you go. It's fantastic though. The stuff that you guys create here is pretty fantastic. Really, really cool. And like I was sort of alluding to, I think I saw 10 people.
Yeah. I think we're 16 or 17 employees. I didn't bring you into the packaging room.
Okay. Yeah. That's where the other half are.
They would have harassed you for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because I drive a Toyota?
All females.
Oh, got it. Perfect.
Yeah. They'd throw us out in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I understand that side of the market for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and we're going to get there because I want to talk about more or less the steps of operation here, but this place was fantastic. I did not expect to walk into this.
Yeah. I think after you had the initial tour, I was like, was that what you expected?
Yeah.
As far as manufacturing in the United States for something that's not like semiconductor or anything like that, we have 17 CNCs, I believe now.
Yeah.
Different varying levels, but yeah, they're running nonstop.
Yeah, it was incredible. I did not expect to see the machine shop side that I don't know why I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I expected more like here's this kit and here's this kit and this is what we make and here's we make some axles, but I did not. I don't know. I didn't put 1 and 2 together to think I was walking into a machine shop because I knew you made axles.
Right.
But I just I thought they were cast or like,
Oh,
forged.
gotcha. So you didn't even expect to see the,
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't expect to see the machine shop side of it at all.
Right. So aftermarket wheels, And axle housings is kind of the bread and butter of what we make here in California. Wheels are running nonstop on the machines, same as axles. Recently, we're starting to make our axles on 5-axis machines. So a complete axle, start to finish, pull it right off the machine, and it's almost ready to go to plating. So we anodize our aluminum for the different colors and finishes. Sure. We do a lot of licensing with like KMC, Method, Curry axles, which is now Rock Chalk axles. Yeah. So, and Rigid Industries is one of our partners. We did some LED lights and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah. So for me, it's a lot of fun to partner with all the full size guys.
Yeah.
Getting to talk to them, meet them at events.
You showed me in the packaging room some Yokohama tires.
Yeah. That's a new relationship.
I was like, dude, I need to put these on my little Marlin crawler truck.
Yeah. So when you guys started talking about, working with Yokohama, I was as well. And I was kind of wondering, like, man, I wonder if we're talking to the same guys or not.
I don't know.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. Very cool tire brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we work with Falcon Tire as well. It was our first tire that we made a replica of.
Oh, got it.
Yep.
I didn't know if we were allowed to talk about that one because we have a hard deadline because you actually have a phone call with them today.
Yeah. Right.
for another project or something else. But I didn't know that was out in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. We make their mud terrain. We make their and their new RT, which is like their extreme all terrain.
Got it.
Yep.
Nice.
So
cool. I think that's one of the fun sides of scaled crawlers is either mimicking your own build or mimicking somebody else's build, but having it like, oh, I have those tires. Like I have them on my truck or, like that's a real tire I can buy instead of some fun random design out there. You can actually make it look like something that you want or have.
Yeah, 100%. And same with, maybe there's something you can't achieve in the full size world, but you can build it in 10 scale.
Yeah.
And a lot of our product designs stem from that. Like it's what we're passionate about. If we were to have an endless budget, this is what we would build full size.
Okay.
We have a project coming out later this year and it's exactly that.
Nice.
Yeah, so
cool. All right, let's go back. You're designing the first car for the kit for Vanquish. You're deciding on 3-link suspension.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there? So you got this sort of suspension figured out.
Yep.
Do you have axles figured out? How do you choose all those things?
No, we went on that first project. We went back and forth on axles. We were originally going to use an axle that was existing. That was an aftermarket product for another brand.
Okay.
And then the further we got into the project, we decided, you know what? It's time to do an offset diff, make it more scale. A lot of stuff in the past was just a centered solid axle up front. Once we did that, it snowballed. We made our own bumpers, our own rock sliders. And that first kit which was really rare in the industry. We only sourced some components from overseas.
Okay.
We brought that box here. We opened it up and we added our machined aluminum axle housings, our transmission housing. We machined rock sliders, bumpers. We added all of that stuff into the box. So our first kit didn't really make a splash into the market as far as like reaching a good customer base because it was so expensive.
Okay.
But as an investment,
it was higher quality.
It was exactly. Yeah.
Right. It's not all the plastic stuff underneath.
Right. And now that kit's been discontinued, it's one of our most sought after kits.
Oh yeah.
In the collector's market.
Oh, interesting.
I guess being the first kit from a company, that's once you are introduced to that brand later on, you always go back and look at their history.
Sure.
But yeah. And then since then, we invested more into tooling overseas and we've brought a competitive product to the market that's more cost effective.
Yeah.
So
is that this one that's sitting in front of us here?
Yeah, that's our new VRD platform. So this is the first time we've made an all new chassis. So it's new frame rails. It's actually out of the box. It's a 4-link front and back.
Okay.
So the steering, this one's been converted on one of our YouTube feeds. That has a chassis mounted steering.
Okay.
But
normally they're axle steering.
Normally it's axle steering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's one behind.
It's on portals.
It's on portals.
How freaking cool.
Yeah. Portal axles are huge in this market.
Well, yeah.
Because you're not sitting in the driver's seat, so you don't see all those obstacles in front of you.
Ah.
Guys are driving, just plowing into stuff.
Sure.
So added clearance is massive.
Yeah.
It's only 1/2 inch, but it's 10 scale. So it's a lot.
Sure. But for me, it's just portals though.
Yeah.
Like,
they're so cool.
It's one of those items that I could buy it for my truck, the RC truck, but afford it to put it on the real rig.
Exactly. When you guys interviewed Quinn from 74 Weld and he mentioned doing Tundra portals.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I could only have a dream of having portals on the Tundra.
Dude,
yeah.
Yes. I'm still dreaming about them for a Tacoma, and it's a reality.
Right.
And
right.
I can't even do
running
that.
the numbers through my head of like, okay, regearing the third members.
Sure.
Or just go portal.
Right.
How do I justify this
How
to
many
the wife?
RC cars do I need to sell?
Yeah.
But yeah, that for sure. So is this one fully out of the box kit now?
That is, ready to go. So it just needs battery, VRD stance. We also sell that. So that's ready to run RTR is what.
Oh, ready to run RTR.
Yep. We also sell a kit version of that. So the kit would not include a body, wheels, tires, but it includes a lot of aftermarket option parts. So you get a carbon fiber frame rail, lighter weight, lowers your center of gravity. We do a gear set in the transmission that's lightened as well because your transmission's up higher.
Yeah.
We add a little more weight to the axles, again, for COG. And it's all in 10 scale. You can really see the performance benefits of doing stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we were talking about does this one have it on your aftermarket? Oh no, you have certain brass fittings, or I don't know what you call housings.
So on your portal steering knuckle, we sell a cover that goes over the top of the gears on the outside.
Sure.
And it's made of brass, and a majority of the material is left at the bottom of the part. And it's for center of gravity.
Center of gravity.
Yep.
So you're adding weight to the axles to reduce the center of gravity stance of the vehicle so that it can do stupider and crazier.
Now you know where
maneuvers.
The name came from. Stance.
Yeah. There you go. See?
Yeah,
for sure. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, I want to drive this thing around, and maybe I can a little later, but yeah. So now you're to the point where Vanquish Products is no longer making aftermarket support. They're now selling full kits.
Yeah. And we're just growing our line of products. So originally it was the VS410, and that was our, the first truck, and it slowly evolved, always using the same chassis. So it's the VS410 chassis. It's actually stamped steel frame rails. It's a C channel, just like a full size.
Oh, really?
And then all the chassis components that are molded in the middle just kind of get bolted into that system. It's pretty versatile. You can change the wheelbase. You can change the shock length. You can tune the suspension. It's a lot of fun to play with and see how a 4-link and a 3-link work in a full size truck.
Sure.
And then, we made different bodies. We made like a kind of a FJ looking body. It was kind of my modern interpretation of what that would be. We did a molded plastic cage in the back that kind of has some Baja styling to it. Yeah. And we just different bumpers, different wheels, all the wheels we machine in house are available in all the different colors, beadlock ring styles, wheel styles, and hub offsets. We offer it all for those.
Yeah, that was one of the really interesting things walking around, is just seeing the wheels getting made. Yeah. Right. And it in a way, it's just a smaller version of the way that a normal wheel gets made to some extent. There's probably the mounting surfaces maybe are different. Right. But it's, they're machining rock rings, and they're machining the wheel face and machining different styles. And
And we, internal beadlocks is actually how we're clamping the tires.
Oh,
so there's a ring inside that wheel that clamps the inner bead of the tire.
Okay.
So you're not actually installing that beadlock ring on the front to clamp. That's mostly for appearance.
Okay.
When you bolt the back face of the wheel to the front face, there's an internal ring in there that's clamping the bead. So if you want to change tires or change your inner foams, we actually put foams inside the tires since they don't hold air. It's just a couple of screws out the backside, and you can quickly change them.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's pretty
I meant
sweet.
to show you that, because you were probably looking at all those little tiny screws on the beadlock, thinking about how painful it would
24.
be. Yeah. Times 4 wheels. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man, that's a small Allen key or whatever.
Yeah. So unless you're changing colors and beadlock ring styles often, you don't have to mess with that.
Sure.
Because trust me, doing all the product photography and assembling wheels every time we need to shoot new photos, it gets old.
Yes.
But
I can believe that.
They look the part.
Yeah. So. They really do. So where did all the machining side come in? Like, how did Vanquish Products figure that they were going to start machining aftermarket parts?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So originally, the founders of the company worked together separately. They decided some things changed in their lives, and RC was something that they both agreed on and were both passionate about. The head machinist, his name's Jim. He came from having RCs as a kid and memories of breaking these little plastic parts constantly and having to go to the store and replace them with the same plastic part constantly.
Right.
And,
right there with him.
And
why
knew,
don't they make metal ones?
Exactly.
Of these?
And
Sure.
he knew with his ability, to machine stuff that he could succeed founding a company on that, based on that.
Yeah.
And then they decided to get into the crawler market. There was a big competition scene locally. So before I
remember it was big.
It was very big.
10 years ago, 12 years ago.
I met
more than that.
One of the original owners, Steve, probably 2007. And he showed up to one of the local events here at Folsom Lake. And he's like, hey, check this out. This is what we're making. And he just brought this beautiful beadlock wheel, something that was beyond anything we were using at the time, because everything was scratch built. There was no off the shelf rock crawler RC cars at the time.
Right.
And that's when I originally met him. And then the brand just grew from there. As soon as my previous company I worked for, Axial, released the first rock crawler, and then I went to work there and we did the competition crawler with the motors on axle. Vanquish Products was able to grow, kind of ride off the back by making aftermarket parts for those cars. And the machine shop grew from just a couple CNCs to what you saw today.
Yeah.
A lot of automation. We keep our key guys employed. We keep them busy. But without adding staff, we're able to keep the machines running 24 hours a day.
Yeah. There was a lot of robotics moving inside of the machine shop, which is fun. I have one of my best friends, one of my college mates, has a small machine shop, and he bought some robotic arms a long time ago and was like, I can run all these silicone wafers all day long, and I'll have this machine that just suction cups and moves them and picks them up and stacks them.
Nobody has to stand there and do it.
Nobody has to stand there and do it. And he never got it started. And so I never actually saw arms in motion until today, which was really fun to see the machine pulling parts out, turning, putting them away, grabbing the next thing, putting them in.
Yeah, I'm glad Jim joined us on that tour, because I don't touch those machines.
So, probably smart.
I'm doing a lot of CAD design and SolidWorks, a lot of project management. I get to go to Taiwan occasionally when we have big projects going. So having him with us today, he was able to show you how all that stuff worked.
That was really neat.
Give you a little more information.
He was looking at the screen and going like, you wait here for like another 2 minutes and then
the tool's going to change.
Change and it's super fast on this one.
Yeah.
He was all nerding out.
He's so passionate about that stuff.
Yeah.
We're all that way about our products. So we kind of feed off each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really cool. And the fact that, you can design things and make them here as like a prototypes is really fun.
Yes. So we'll prototype a lot of stuff before we invest in plastic tooling, because that's a big investment on these cars. So that very first kit that we developed that had the machine components in it, it could have flopped, and we would have known, okay, we don't need to invest in this tooling and proceed making plastics.
Sure.
But it also gives us a way to test certain theories of parts and geometry and all that stuff before we go that route.
Right. I didn't notice any 3D printers here though.
They're in the R&D office.
Okay.
It's embarrassingly messy. So
that's how an R&D office should be.
But yeah, so I actually, I work from home a few days a week. Kids, life. Thankful they let me do that.
Yeah.
I have a 3D printer at home in my shop too. We have one here. Josh has one as well. He actually has a really cool 3D printer, but he uses that for a lot of his YouTube stuff.
Okay.
It's about 3 times faster than mine.
Wow.
But yeah, we're big into that. We do a lot of 3D printing.
I was going to say that 3D printing with just a basic plastic should save 3D or creating bricks or, models out of bricks of aluminum.
Right.
There's a cheaper factor there.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think it's neat that, there's a chunk of aluminum here on the floor.
It looks just like
replica of the VRD stance vehicle that's sitting in front of us today.
Yep. Yeah. So we decided to get a feel for the body design by machining the mold of it, basically. And then we had a low end vacuum forming machine. We're able to just pull clear bodies right off of that machine chunk.
Yeah.
We got to see what it looked like before we went to tooling.
Yeah.
Which is something I never had the ability to do previously.
Sure.
So yeah, it's huge to have that here.
Well, and because you guys did that, the chunk of aluminum that's sitting here on the floor, you've decided that it's not right.
Yeah. You notice some changes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we pinched the front end a little more, and it has a dovetailed rear.
Right.
We just needed more tire clearance. So you can see when you flex this one now that tires clear, full stuff, left, right. It's something we look at in CAD as well, but having the physical part helps a lot.
Always.
Yep.
I enjoy that side of things. I don't know CAD. I need to learn it. But I think there's a lot of advantages to understanding CAD in this modern day, especially if you're in some sort of manufacturing.
Yeah.
Because just even the stress testing and tolerances and just knowing if things are going to work, that, makes all kinds of sense.
All of your tailgates, Snail armor. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were able to scan and go right to CAD with that stuff, it'd help a lot.
I'm working on that.
I think you talk about it painfully needing to. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm on version 6 or 7 of this new Land Cruiser panel. And that's me, this one hole, these holes need to move, a quarter of an inch.
Ever so slightly. Yeah.
And then I get them back. Oh no, it needs to go back another this way. I'm either doing something wrong
or Toyota's tolerance. Yeah.
Maybe I've been measuring the same truck.
Oh no. Yeah.
But every time I move a whole location, we'll just stock one solo spot. It's like I move it around to try to get it as precise as possible.
Yeah.
And the new Snail Armor Land Cruiser panel, it wasn't until recently that I realized I can't run the larger screws that I normally run on the Tundras and the Tacomas. But so I had to downsize the screw. So that made my need to be precise even higher.
Oh yeah.
So now that I thought on version 5, I was like, dude, I think I've nailed it. And then I was like, oh shit, I need to have smaller screws. So I had the Hot Metal Fab cut me out another panel with smaller screws. And then I know, my holes are off again.
Oh no.
Now I got to move them again.
Yep.
Where if I had a 3D scan,
I
could just be like, oh, this is the whole center.
Right.
It's right here.
So
and I can adjust everything.
That's another thing you could talk to Josh about. He does a lot of 3D scanning.
Oh, cool.
He scans stuff for me sometimes so I can kind of get a feel in CAD how close I am.
Sure.
But we don't use it for precise hole locations or anything like that. But yeah, it would help immensely.
Definitely. So where do you see the draw for people that love scaled crawlers and have a full size rig? I mean, there's so many correlations. Do you feel that there's a correlation in driving as well?
Big time. And so when you're on the trail and you're hitting side obstacles, I hear you and Tyler talk about it all the time.
Off camber?
This line, that line,
sure.
you have to try everything.
Okay.
It's the same thing. You and your buddies have the same truck and you can see who can drive better.
Right.
It's always a challenge.
Okay.
And it's fun. It's competitive. It's that competitive nature.
Absolutely.
And then it's the hangout. You get to sit at the camp, drive trucks around. You have a bunch of rocks behind you. You can't beat it.
No.
Or around the fire. Hopefully not in the fire.
Yeah.
We've seen.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Some cabs come that are melted.
Yeah. KOH is famous for that.
Oh yeah. People are they sending them in for repair? Like, what do you mean? They're sending you photos and they're like, I need another one of these.
Yeah. I need to replace this whole truck. Yeah. No. The biggest correlation is being able to do things that, you see an obstacle, you get to try it, and being competitive with your buddies.
Right.
I think Josh and I will sit in front of a rock at Folsom Lake and try to drive up a line that looks tough. And as soon as one of us makes it, it's
horse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're playing horse right now, just like basketball. Like, I made this shot. Now you have to make this shot.
Exactly.
I made this line. Now you have to make this line.
And we do the scale competitions where we drive through cones, just like the full size guys. Yeah. You're timed, you're scored, you have penalties, reverses count. It translates really well to full size. You plan your turns ahead. You always look ahead. You got to know where you're going, what you're dropping off.
Right. Do you think that if you had an RC crawler, it would make you a better wheeler in your regular rig?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that if I should teach my daughter how to drive with an RC, vehicle first?
Yeah.
Instead of throwing her into onto a riding mower?
Yeah.
Or something, and then to a real vehicle?
Throttle control is huge.
Sure. That's a great point right there.
I mean,
you don't slam it into walls all day long.
No, exactly. Yeah. When you learn to drive up to something slowly and then, not to hit it full throttle, it makes a big difference.
For sure. That makes sense.
I have 3 kids, 6 and under, driving these things. And that's the hardest thing to teach. But once they get it, they can drive anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting, the relation.
Yeah.
And the steering, left, right. You could hold the transmitter, the RC, remote, just like a steering wheel. If you hold it flat, you can visually see turning left and right. And for a kid, that's huge.
Yeah. So you're not holding the remote like up and down. You're turning it sideways, a little horizontal.
You can, but when I was teaching my kids initially, I was like, look, here's your steering wheel. You need to look at turning it this way.
No, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So for the children, I mean, there's a mental hurdle that we as adults have to take to
figure that out initially.
Turning the steering wheel towards you or away from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. But for children, and probably a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. And then once they get used to it, they can run around with the remote however they want to hold it.
But if you point the steering wheel at them like it was a steering wheel,
and they see the tire,
if you turn left and right, it makes it a little easier for them to understand what they're doing.
Right. Exactly.
That's a good tip right there. It's like reversing, and you start with your hand at the bottom of the steering wheel.
Right.
Back in a trailer up. You put your hand at the bottom of the steering wheel, and whatever way you want the trailer to turn, you turn your hand in that direction. I can't do it now. It messes me up because I'm so used to the top.
Exactly.
And I'm always thinking in opposites.
Yep.
But I really like that tip. I think I will use that for my daughter.
We'll have to get your daughter one so you can get her to drive an RC car safely before she gets behind the wheel.
I think, for me, it's her next progression is going to be the riding mower.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I need to teach her how to drive an RC vehicle before she can start driving the riding mower. Because we had, long story long, we had my brother's riding mower broke down. Brought it over to my house so I could tinker on it. And I was like, this thing's done.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's not worth fixing. It's over it. Time to get another one. And so I threw my daughter on the riding mower so I could push it around to the backside of the shop. And I was like, okay, turn. And she turned like she would her power wheels. Yeah. Like a quarter of a turn. She's like, I'm turned. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You got to keep turning.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, this is hard, And I was like, there's a level of from power wheels to whatever's next is there's more turning involved. There's more speed involved. Some things don't have brakes, do these have brakes?
No. So the electric motor basically has an inherent drag to it,
right?
As well as the drivetrain, especially with the portal axles. You're going through all that gear reduction. You let off the throttle and they just stop instantly.
Okay.
If you're going downhill and there's some weight behind the vehicle, it will roll even when you let it off.
Sure.
So the electronics have what's called a drag brake built into it. That's tunable.
Oh. So
you can pick a drag brake percentage. So when you let off on a steep incline, that it's going to either hold or it's going to roll a little bit.
Nice.
That's getting into the nerdy tech side of it, but
yeah, well, I mean, let's go there. Well, to some extent, let's get into a little bit of the deep dive into what the electronics and nerdy side of things have, because there's a lot of tech that goes into this. And I think when I want to go there is what tech is coming out of RC cars that is happening in real off-road vehicles today, because I know the story of the reverse transmission.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that's a true story or not.
So spinning the outputs opposite of each other.
Yeah. To keep the force going other directions.
That's something that's actually been attempted a few times in RC. I think the biggest difference for us is sprung versus unsprung weight.
Okay.
So we have way more unsprung weight compared to a full size.
Right.
The chassis are super light. The bodies are made there's no nothing engine, to it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so we don't necessarily see those effects as much.
Okay.
The biggest thing we see, those guys were basically fighting the truck, unloading the suspension.
Yes.
And the thought behind having reversed outputs on the transfer case was to alleviate that load being translated to suspension movement.
Okay.
What we fight the most is torque twist, because you have so much power.
Yeah.
An electric motor is 100% torque at 0 RPM as soon as you hit it. So you'll see the suspension instantly compress.
Yes.
Especially when you're climbing and it's exaggerated in RC. That's where portal axles come in. Anytime you can increase that reduction in the axle, you reduce your torque twist.
Okay.
So we deal with that a lot. And then one of the things that we've done across the board on probably since our second product release is we actually overdrive the front. So we have the output. So the transfer case has a little bit different gearing in it.
Okay.
And the front output is overdriven about 6%.
Why?
It pulls the front tires and it reduces that load on the rear. It reduces torque twist.
Okay. And it's got to help when cresting a hill of some sort.
Exactly.
Too.
Those front tires start pulling and grabbing a little more and less load on the rear, and it'll pull you over that breakover.
Got it.
Since then, we've sold aftermarket gear sets for the T case. We can go up to 20% overdrive.
Wow.
With our ring and pinions, just like full size, we sell different ratios. So you could install an even lower ratio in the rear, go to 30% overdrive. My personal competition truck, if I go to compete, is at like 37%
overdrive in the front.
So I found I'm able to turn uphill on off camber because that front's spinning so much faster and I can turn uphill on an obstacle versus if they're spinning the same speed, it kind of washes out the front.
Okay. Cause it's pushing.
It's pushing. Exactly. Breakovers are huge as well. Having that overdrive helps a lot. You have to get used to driving it. You would never want to do that in a full size. The amount of strain on your drive shafts and joints would be insane.
Yeah.
But again, these are lightweight.
I was thinking about that though.
Oh yeah.
It's like if you're in sand,
sure.
It wouldn't matter it wouldn't matter nearly as much because the sand is so forgiving under the tires.
And then we did a selectable overdrive in one of our product releases a few years ago. So the transfer case has 2 gear sets in it, basically a front gear set and a rear gear set. On the front output, there's a shift lever that selects between the two. So it went from 6%. So if you're just driving around flat surface on the trail, you have that 6% safe, easy on the drivetrain. And then when you shift it, it goes up to 46%.
Wow.
And it's an extreme case because it is selectable. It's not something you're using all the time.
Yeah.
But then you can really, it actually taught customers the benefits of it because they were able to test and drive, select it on the fly.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It's like a selectable locker.
Exactly.
Like you don't need it all the time, but when you do need it,
imagine with Bobcat and you're in a tight U-turn.
Yeah.
If you had overdrive, your turning radius suddenly gets cut in half.
Right.
When it's that extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then with that same T case, we actually added a second shift lever for dig. So the rear output had dig, the front output had selectable overdrive.
So you could turn the rear output off and turn the overdrive on and just do a fast, hard front dig.
Yep. And then inherently, if you left that front output in neutral, it was rear only.
Right.
Yeah. So it had.
So you're 2-wheel drive and you can do your drifts.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Brake stands. Yep.
Awesome.
So we definitely nerd out on the same stuff the full size guys do. Suspension geometry.
Do you change ratios in portals, or is the portal always sort of a standard gear?
We have. So initially when I designed the portals, we had 3 gear sets because for that exact reason, let customers test and tune. The lowest gear set, we found the top gear to be too weak. So we have a standard ratio and then a little bit higher ratio.
No.
Yep.
Okay.
So guys are changing those out. Front, rear, same with the ring and pinion,
right?
Overdrive in the T case.
Yeah.
Test and tune.
It's the same as sort of full size vehicles in a way. It's you want to change, where do you want to change the gearing? How do you want to change it?
Yep.
How do you want the torque applied? Where do you want the torque applied?
It's one of the biggest questions we get. And since this has happened, those percentage numbers being documented, the big customers always like, if I install this gear and do this and this axle, what's my percentage?
Yeah.
We're like, no, just try it, test it, see if you like it, because there's no magic number for that stuff.
Right.
Every truck's different.
It's not. Yeah. What is my gear ratio when I'm in low in first gear with 529s, but whoa, wait, what's your transmission?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And what TK gears are you running?
Mhm.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, you have a 4.7 in that rear one. It changes everything up,
Yeah.
but yeah.
See, you're speaking my Toyota language now.
I know.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. If my other coworkers listen, they'll start cringing.
Yeah. Their ears are going to catch on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah. So I have a 85 at home.
Oh, nice.
It's on full widths, dual cases.
Oh,
My brother
I
and
didn't know this.
Yeah. Well, because it's a project.
Okay.
It runs. It's currently, I need to get it smogged. I think you're dealing with that too.
Yes and no.
But kids, man, why
Yeah.
am I going to wrench on this thing all the time when I'm so busy with the kids?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have to say thank you, because listening to you guys for all these years, my brother built the truck. Him and I bought it back when we were in high school.
Yeah.
When I moved to SoCal, he went nuts and did all the work on it.
Okay.
And then he had twins before I had twins, and he was moving, doing all this stuff. And I moved back up to NorCal, so close to Fordyce, Rubicon. I said, hey, let me keep that truck, get it registered, get it running again, which I did. And, hearing you guys talk about all these trails, I've taken it out a few times.
Yeah.
Getting up to Signal Peak or the first river crossing at Fordyce, just quick solo runs with one of my kids,
Perfect.
Nothing crazy, but I just can't wait to get back out, because, missing out on all those trails and seeing all that stuff. It's going to be awesome.
It's fun. It's eye opening. It's a different game, but in a way, in your case, it's the same game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yours is, now what we need to do is we need to get an 85. This VRD stance is almost there.
So the inspiration on this one, I wanted to do Toyo Stout.
Okay.
That was, and then
I would have loved that.
I know, but we were in early design phase on this, and another manufacturer made a stout-ish body.
Okay.
So I scrapped
But
that.
this one's almost second gen, but it has like a first gen bed.
Has a little Ford Courier in it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was looking at old school trucks, something that nobody's done recently. There was one before, but took a little inspiration from that.
Nice.
And I always modernize everything. I just, let's make our interpretation of what this would be today.
Like the one we gave away on our Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you so much for that.
So much fun listening to Tyler. Just, what are you up to? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw. You're not in the Facebook Snail Squad
I know.
group. Man, when we had the voting going on, Tyler was like, "I didn't know we had like a $500 budget."
Yeah.
I still held my tongue.
Yeah.
Until the podcast came out.
Oh, that was amazing. I had so much fun listening to those episodes.
I bet.
Yep.
But so yes, massive thank you for that.
Oh yeah, my
giveaway
pleasure.
Item.
And we should do another giveaway, maybe a monthly one. Get one of these trucks in somebody's hands.
Oh,
I'm more than happy to do that for you guys.
We'll talk off air. We'll figure something out for sure. I don't think anybody would be opposed to any of that.
Right on.
But I wanted to go back to the one that we did give away. Where did the inspiration for that one come from? Because I know I said it before on the podcast that you sent me a photo and you're like, how about this one? And I was like, that's fine, but can we not have it look like a Jeep?
Yeah. Right.
And then you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And we were out of stock on what Jimmy's referring to as the VS410 Phoenix, which kind of has a little FJ Cruiser inspiration into it.
Yeah. It's kind of an FJ45 style.
FJ45.
With an extra cab.
It would be right. So I would love to own an FJ45.
Sure.
But it doesn't have enough seats.
Mm-hmm.
Family of 5. So extra cab, 4-door, that again, we're designing products that we would like to own in real life.
Right.
So it's an FJ45 with an extra cab, modern interpretation of that.
Right.
We did.
But it's not an FJ45 because of licensing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we changed it up so much. As much as, an FJ45 would be awesome. They don't always scale correctly, and you have to take your own, design changes anyways.
Right.
So yeah. And that was the first body that I chose on my own as far as styling goes.
Oh, cool.
Because the other Jeep guys, one of them loves Scouts. And so our first body was roughly Scout Bronco-ish styling.
Right.
And the idea with the FJ was to get a pinched front end, better approach angle, better tire clearance, higher fender arches and stuff like that.
Right.
And that styling was just a natural fit.
Right. More of an off-roader than a K5 Blazer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Blazer, Bronco, Scout.
Yeah.
And then, there's the Phoenix body, kind of has some Jeep-ish styling, just those dimensions and proportions.
To some extent, you could change the grill on the front of it,
And
it can be anything. A Jeep or it could be a Toyota.
Exactly.
Or it could be a Samurai almost.
Here's a story for you.
Already.
The next body we did followed those same proportions, but it looks like an old school truck, and we named it after the Fordyce Trail.
Oh, you named it Fordyce?
Yeah. Do you know what comes up when you Google Fordyce?
I know. You should do it if you
don't
do it.
Don't do that.
Okay.
And
that's how I put 4x4 on the end of Snail Trail.
Yeah. So they're like some sort of rash or spots on your private area.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not know that.
We got a lot of kickback when we named that product Fordyce. And specifically Michael, the one that selected that name. And I guess outside of full-size off-roading, you don't know the Fordyce Trail.
No,
and
I would assume.
So our RC customers didn't, most did, but there's a big portion that would post up and be like, do not search the word Fordyce when you're looking to buy the truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, or you need to do better SEO marketing to
We
outdo
always do, except that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too funny.
We always research the names, make sure there's no trademarks, stuff like that.
Sure.
That was a big oops.
Yeah.
But so we also have the VS410 Fordyce, which is old school single cab truck.
Nice.
Kind of like maybe a little bit of wheelies inspiration on that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we start to fade out here with, can you tell us about what Jim's got going in the machine shop? Can you tease it?
Sure.
Maybe?
Yeah. He's already teased it on his social media.
Okay.
You guys want to follow, see what we're doing here in Sacramento. Ripper Machinist is Jim's account. And He's solely posting, videos of our 5-axis machines running and little snippets of some prototype stuff. So one of our passions is to do projects we like. And Jim is currently working on designing, programming. He has almost all the initial sample parts done. It's a full CNC machined car. I'm not going to say specific words here.
Okay.
It's very similar to what we're currently making out of plastic for our kits and RTRs. And he's taking it to the extreme.
Cool.
So it's going to be limited production, serialized, crazy packaging, super cool anodized colors. The whole entire body is going to be machined aluminum.
Yeah.
So, you take a 8-pound chunk of aluminum to make a hood and you machine it to something that weighs an ounces.
Right.
Yeah. Almost nothing.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I actually got to see the hood and one of the body lines.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. And it's just cool. I mean, we're so accustomed to the plastic bodies.
Yeah.
Right. And to look at something and going like, wait, you're going to actually make a vehicle out of aluminum and it's a hard body.
Yeah. So the sound it's going to make when it rolls down a hill or bounces off a rock.
It'll make the crunching noise when the same crunchy noise I know and recognize.
Yeah. Dent, scratch. Yep. Typical Toyota noises. Yeah.
Right. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know that you told me earlier that some of the original styles of that are going for thousands now online.
Yeah. So the original Vanquish Products Ripper was a cage and body panels that bolted onto an axial platform. That was when we were an aftermarket company making aftermarket parts. And Jim had decided like, hey, let's just go all out. Let's make the craziest axial product we can.
Yeah.
It was this complete cage that you could bolt on to a different chassis. That was 7-8 years ago.
Cool.
We have our own platforms now.
Yep.
We have all this advanced machinery that we've added since then. And we're tackling a similar project again.
That's going to be fun to see this thing come out.
Super cool. Yeah.
I think it's going to break the RC world once again.
Yeah. The collector market for the original is nuts. We're hoping to do way more of these, but being serialized, our name is out there. We're a lot bigger now than we were 7-8 years ago.
Sure.
It's going to be a really fun product.
Yeah. It was funny because when we did the giveaways, somebody was like, That was really cool that, an RC company reached out and worked with you, but you should get one of the big ones on, and I'm like, I don't think you realize who's becoming a big one nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, it's valid, working at Axial previously, I know what the potential is.
Sure.
And yeah, I think the biggest reason that Vanquish Products may not have that image is marketing. Since the company was founded, the products have always sold themselves. We're a bunch of engineers.
Right.
So we're not marketing ourselves very well. And that's something we're actually looking for, a marketing person, someone in the Sacramento area, maybe some off-road industry knowledge, because we're at the point now where we have inventory. We're able to stay on top of it. We can grow and scale as needed. We just need to market ourselves. So that person may not have heard of Vanquish Products before just because we don't push it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I run our Instagram and I sadly haven't posted in a month.
Sure.
We use it for product releases.
Yeah.
I'm not on there every day engaging. I'm designing new products.
Right.
So
absolutely.
And that's something that
you're being an engineer.
Yeah.
You're being your job. You're not a marketing person.
We know we need to do that.
Right.
And we're lacking there. So,
after walking around, it's just shocked me that how much stuff you guys actually do.
Yeah.
I did not realize, I knew I'm not the biggest RC guy. And I think I've said that before. And I know there's a lot of stuff that goes into these and a lot of parts.
Yeah.
But you guys pretty much literally make every single part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Minus ring and pinions is about all that I've heard.
Yeah. No. Well, we're making the gears overseas,
Oh, okay.
So the gears are ours. We're making them overseas.
Right.
But we just don't make them in house. That's not our specialty.
Yeah.
So same with plastics and Lexan, clear bodies, rubber tires. We're not making in house. That's something where we know what we're good at, but we have the sources that are experts at that we use.
Absolutely.
And that's how we got here.
Right.
To having a complete car.
But if somebody's looking to upgrade their car,
we have them covered.
You've got it all.
Yeah. Yep. And if we don't have it, we're working on it.
Sure.
Yeah. And we don't always, we don't like to let anything slip until it's available.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. Yeah. People like to, they see it, they see that product release. If the buy it now button's there, that's super important.
Right.
So,
well, and you might be in the same sort of boat that Tyler's in, where he's got competitors listening in.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And then he talks about something that he's working on, and then the competitors are doing the same thing.
Yikes. Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
And sure. Same thing. I mean, we do a Tuesday afternoon live feed here in the studio on YouTube. And, I get smacked in the hand every once in a while for
saying something you shouldn't have.
I'm famous for product leaks, apparently. So every time I'm on, they're excited I'm going to leak something.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
Usually it's for fun. It's small stuff, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to leak today?
Oh, jeez.
Yes, kidding. You don't have to say.
So you saw the Yokohama tires?
I did.
Yeah. That's one.
Oh,
so
that's not out yet?
No, that one's out.
Oh, that was a leak.
That there's going to be more.
Okay.
Yeah. We're, partnering with somebody like them that has all those tire models. We're definitely going to work on the others. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
I want the XAT or the XMTs.
Okay. We'll talk.
Yeah. Those are, they look cool.
Yo, that's
now, and then you need to get Trepidors because those look badass too.
You think so? Axial did those so long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't bring myself to remake that tire that's been on the market so long.
Oh.
In the scale world. Yes. Obviously, they're killer in full size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you would know the scale world. I guess, I'm sure there are some small nuances that just don't work as well because the weight isn't there.
It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll change up tread designs and some things you think will work just absolutely do not work.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Well, I'll get you and Tyler hooked on these and then you guys can come back with all the questions and see what you learn. I think the campsite thing is going to be the funnest for you.
Sure. I believe it. I absolutely do. I used to tote mine around all the time, but I always found sitting around and talking and having a beer was always a fun time for me. And I didn't need to pull the RC car out. But I think with the new relationship that's starting here, I think that those times might change.
Yeah, no, it's a blast, especially when there's more than one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or you go on a hike, like drive it in front of you the whole time. It's such a blast.
I think that's how I'll be able to get the mini assistant to walk the loop by our house.
Oh yeah. There you go. Perfect.
It's like, I get so hard. Like, oh, let's go out on a walk. No, why would I do that?
Right?
Let's exercise, blah, like, okay, you can drive the RC car.
Yep.
Okay. I'm in.
It's perfect. I do the same thing with my kids. Wears them out. They don't realize how far they've gone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Big thanks to Vanquish Products and you for your time. Why don't you tell everybody where they can get in contact with either you or the company, whichever one you want to give out?
Sure. Vanquishproducts.com. We just launched a new website. So much nicer, cleaner, better photography, easier to purchase. We have our Facebook, Vanquish Products, our Instagram. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Kuntzified.
Can you spell that for everybody?
Yes.
I'll put a link down below as well.
Cooncified. My last name's Kuntz, just to play on that. Then it's mostly car related, trucks, lots of RC stuff, some family stuff, but Ripper Machinist, you'll get to see some of our behind the scenes stuff. Josh gave you a tour today. He has a huge Instagram and YouTube. Yep. Harley Designs.
Harley?
Yep.
Okay.
From his background in Harleys.
Got it.
But and he's constantly posting. You could check out all his 10th scale fabrication. He's currently making a Jimmy's 4x4 replica cage.
Cool.
So he's 3D printing fixtures, TIG welding it all, 10th scale.
Damn,
it's awesome. He's actually has me motivated to get my welder out and start doing some of that stuff again.
Sweet.
Yeah. Reach out.
That would be fun. I'm excited to see that and see what's becoming. I'll link all those things down below for everybody. You guys can just go down there when you're not driving and click on those links and check things out. With that, I've got one final question, and then I'm going to get final words. So get ready for final words.
Oh, crap. That's right.
Do you think we could start making some, or can you point me in the direction to start making some Snail Trail 4x4 RC crawler stickers?
We should probably just get you added to one of our sticker sheets that go in our kits.
Yeah.
We do that with all of our full-size friends and partners. So
that would be fun.
Awesome. I don't know why I never thought of that before. I'm sorry.
Do it.
Yep.
And with that, do you have any final words?
Yeah. Reach out to me. I hope you guys can check out Vanquish Products and try them out. It's really addicting. I've been doing it since 2004 and I can't believe it turned into a career, but super thankful for that.
That is fantastic. And don't forget, my friends, keep crawling. Do you have a joke?
Oh no. How dare you? No jokes. I should have known the dad jokes were coming.
They were.
Yep.
All right. I'll have to add one later on. Actually, I got one for you. Do you know it has 5 toes and isn't your foot?
You got me.
It's my foot.